Hi, and thanks for joining me. Today we're picking up from a previous trip where we went in search of Robin Hood. Now that actually turned out to be a longer video than I expected, so I decided to make it into two separate rambles. We're going to travel across a bit of North Yorkshire and over to the East Riding of Yorkshire. We're just heading up the hill out of Wentbridge on the B6474, and we're going to branch off on this lane to the left. This is the A1 we're crossing over, and traffic looks to be flowing freely here, unlike the section just a bit further south that we saw last time, where the long-term road works are causing havoc. We're just coming into the village of Kirk, Smeaton. There's more mistletoe up in the trees to our left, and I commented on a previous video that you don't see much of it as it's normally hidden by the leaves till winter. Kirk Smeaton's only a small village with a population of about 400, but it's quite old. It's mentioned in the Domesday Book as Smeaton, which derives from the Old English words for Smith's farm. The village pub's the Shoulder of Mutton, just on the left here. It's nice to see one still open in this day and age, when they seem to be closing down all over. In the centre of the village we've got St Peter's Church. It's in a lovely setting with this green in front of it. It dates from the 12th century, and it's what gives the village its Kirk prefix. A few hundred yards to the north, on the other side of the River Went, we've got the village of Little Smeaton. When the church was built here, Kirk was added to the village name to distinguish it from its sister village next door, Kirk being an old northern English name for a church. We've left Kirk Smeaton and we're just crossing over the River Went. This marks the border between the two villages. Little Smeaton's even smaller than Kirk Smeaton, with a population of around 300. As we come into the village, we're going to turn right, then follow the lanes north towards Womersley. We're entering Womersley now, and the gate on the left is one of the entrances to Womersley Park Estate. The estate's got a small country house, and it's complete with coach house and stables, and it dates from the 17th century. As we ride through the village, the large stone wall that's on our left is the old Womersley Park Estate boundary wall. The estate covers around 350 acres and the house and other buildings are Grade 2 listed. We're just passing the north gate and the entrance to the courtyard here. This really is a pretty village, and even on a dull winter's day like this, it's still got a lot of charm with all the old buildings. Two of the buildings on the right here are old 17th century farmhouses, and they're Grade 2 listed. We've also got the site of a medieval settlement just to the south of the main road, and that's a scheduled monument. I did a U-turn just outside the village because I'm wanting to head back to the east. Coming back through Womersley, I'll just stop off here because I noticed a couple of interesting bits on the corner as we came in. These are the old village water pump and the cross. The cross, though it's only the base that still remains, is from medieval times, and the pump's thought to date from 1842. We're leaving Womersley now, and we're going to turn left at the roundabout and head over towards Pollington. This imposing building on the left here is the old railway station, although the platforms have long since gone, and it's now a private house. It was built by the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway and opened in 1848, and it served the village for 100 years, closing in 1948. There's so much water sitting about in the fields now. Everywhere just seems totally waterlogged. This is the A19 from Doncaster to York. We're going to go straight across and stay on the back lanes. We've crossed into the East Riding of Yorkshire now, and we're approaching Pollington. That's the old church of St John the Baptist with its nice little lich gate on the front. It was built in the Gothic Revival style in the 1850s. The bridge takes us over the Ayr and Calder navigation, which is part of the canal system that ends up in Goole. Pollington's the site of a wartime airbase, though it's actually named after a village a few miles away. RAF Snaith sits on the north side of Pollington village. It was named RAF Snaith to avoid confusion with RAF Pocklington, which is about 20 miles further north. The M62 motorway was built over the northern part of the old airfield, but there's still some remains of the concrete runways and some of the buildings. It opened in 1941 and was operated by Bomber Command flying Halifax and Wellington bombers, and it closed in 1946. There's a memorial garden on the site of the old station headquarters buildings, which is on an industrial estate that now sits where one of the runways once was. It commemorates the many airmen that flew out of RAF Snaith during the war and never returned from their missions. This includes 687 from 51 Squadron and 205 from 150 Squadron. The propellers from a Halifax bomber. Some of the old buildings that were the WAF camp still remain by the lane to the east of the village, and some of these have been turned into a museum for the airfield. Still a work in progress, but they've restored some of them internally and set up some good displays. They hold open days at times throughout the year if you're interested in visiting. It's closed today, but it's housed in these buildings. We're heading out of Pollington now, and this is the M62 we're crossing over. We'll turn right at the T-junction and follow it east for a while. This is the A645 from Pontefract we're on. We're actually running alongside the M62 here. We're passing through the village of Snaith now, and we're turning right onto the A1041. East Cowick now, and I've covered a lot of these little villages in previous videos if you're interested in further details. Right onto the A614 for Thorn here at the roundabout. Back over the M62, then we're going to take a right up here and head down the back lanes towards Syke House and Fish Lake. As we go up over the canal bridge, we get a view of the fields alongside the River Don, and more evidence, not that we need it, of just how wet it's been. I brought you out this way last year after a couple of the earlier storms to show you the flooded roads. As you can see, it's still pretty bad. Unfortunately, we've had such a wet few months, the ground just hasn't had chance to drain properly, and every time we have more heavy rain, the river just gets high and the fields flood again. This is the bridge over the River Went, but you can't really tell it from the rest of the water. Let's hope 2024 is going to be a bit drier year. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm not far from home now, and I'm ready for a nice warm brew. Hope you've enjoyed this little ramble. Please leave a like, if in fact you did, and a comment. I always try and answer them. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of my ramblings, and hit the notification button. Hope to catch you on the next one, so cheers for now.